Vegas putting its own roulette wheel spin on New York City's New Year's Eve ball drop. Last night at midnight, the D Hotel and Casino was among a group of Sin City resorts that flung their doors back open. Tourists have been anxiously awaiting the American gambling mecca to reopen after being shuttered for 2.5 months due to the coronavirus. The owner of the D Hotel even apparently set up a ribbon cutting that we're showing you right now on the casino floor saying, quote, "I was there. June 4th, reopening Las Vegas." There it goes. I was there. Classic Vegas, right? At 12:01 a.m., people streamed into the casinos that were able to reopen, but you all should know it will be a much different Vegas that they will find when they arrive. Las Vegas blogger and VitalVegas.com founder Scott Roeben joins us now. And Scott, your voice is one that both Wall Street analysts and investors listen to because you have your ear to the ground when it comes to Vegas. Thanks for joining us. You were there last night at the D Hotel. First, describe the scene.
Yes, well, the video kind of shows the energy. I've been talking about pent-up demand, but there was kind of also just a pent-up exuberance. People they were champing at the bit to get to their favorite machines. I think for months I've been advocating opening up. I think people need a break from the stress and the anxiety, and casinos are pretty much a solution to that. It was wild. It was great to see a select number of casinos opened last night at 12:01, as you said. Today, the big casinos on the Strip are opening up, but downtown is kind of a microcosm of Las Vegas. So I took it as a really good sign that people were ready to get back and have fun, obviously with care. I've kind of been using a phrase, confidence and care, because the numbers have looked pretty good, especially in Nevada. But care along with that, and the casinos have taken a lot of steps to make people feel more confident.
Can you give us and our viewers a sense of room occupancy numbers that we're seeing? Because the casino stocks took off a day or two ago after your blog put out some numbers, and they look to be pretty good for the coming weekend. And immediately we saw casino stocks just jump, and you were referenced. So give us a sense of the latest numbers that you have and what you're hearing about.
Well, I always get nervous when the market does anything based on my silly tweets, but I do speak to the folks in the industry, and it was looking very good for Flamingo and Caesar's Palace specifically. Flamingo, I had heard that they were booked to 70%. So as you know, the occupancy limit is 50%, but that doesn't keep them from taking bookings. Actually opened a third hotel to accommodate that percentage over. So it's the casinos are opening more quickly than expected because of that demand. I think there were a lot of big question marks. Some of those questions have been answered, obviously, from what happened last night, but also these folks are really good at projecting demand when they start to see signs that things are coming back. And room occupancy is one of those things where they can see it very clearly. And Caesars Entertainment decided they planned on doing 2 major resorts up front, and now have decided to open another. And I'm hearing that that's true across the board. MGM Resorts as well. They opened 2, went to 3, and all their projections, some of which were very pessimistic. Some of these casinos theoretically would not have even opened until 2021. Those are all being moved up.
Okay, could I just ask you, because we showed a list of the ones that have not reopened. The Mirage, the Mirage is a pretty hot property. Why wouldn't the Mirage open? Is that anything that we can deduce from that about their bookings?
There are so many variables, so many moving parts. Part of it has to do with just sheer logistics. Each of the major casino companies decided to open one of their high-end resorts, their highest-end resort, and one that was a little more value-oriented. The Mirage is probably right in the middle, so it was probably seen as being redundant to New York, which was the one that is opening today. So there are a million factors. Many of them related to demand, but also just the logistics behind the scenes, back of house, how food is purchased, how it's distributed, how staffing is done, what the union requirements are. There's a lot of variations there. And they're doing it very strategically in a very reasonable way so that they're not kind of overextending, being too overly optimistic, because once you put bodies in that building, you're talking about thousands of people being brought back to work, and just the sheer administrative heft of that. So they're having to make these decisions in a very deliberate way.
It's great to have you. I'd love to have you back. Scott Roeben of VitalVegas.com, the hot Vegas insiders blog when it comes to the numbers.